Hello everyone, long time no see. I'm finally happy to be back here and to carve out time for making this video as I had the idea of it for a long time. Today we're going to talk about the revision stage of your classes, and I'm going to provide you with some useful ideas and activities that you will be able to use with your students. I know how frustrating it can be when you have to plan the whole lesson and you also have to bear in mind the revision stage, and it's not a piece of cake to come up with some good ideas for this lesson stage. That's why I decided to prepare this video for you, because as we know, our brain functions in such a way that it has a natural tendency to forget a lot of things if you do not revise them. And that's such a pity if you invested a lot of time and energy in learning something and then you see that your students gradually forget all this information. But with proper revision activities, that will not happen. That's why I'm here, and today we're going to talk about this topic. Without further ado, let's get started. Jeopardy is the best option when you have to revise a lot of material when it comes to the end of the unit, so it's like one of the best things that you could use with your students. On this website, Jeopardy Labs, you will be able to create the games for free. The main idea of Jeopardy is that you have a few categories. You can come up with the ones that you would like to, and after that students have to do the tasks that they are provided with and they can get points. That's a good thing because it contains an element of gamification and it gives this boost to the motivation of our students. In general, Jeopardy is the great way to summarize everything you have learned and at the same time have a lot of fun with your students. The second idea is my go-to activity when it comes to revision classes. What I do, I ask my students to generate as many lexical units as they remember from the unit we have covered, and after that they have to ask their partner the question that would contain these or that lexical unit, and the partner has to answer the question using another collocation, chunk, or phrasal verb, stuff like that. So in general, it's a great way not just to generate and brainstorm some ideas, but at the same time they are able to produce these lexical units in their speaking. Your students glued to their phones? I'm sure they are. So let's use it to our own advantage. You can ask your students to create a social media post using the vocabulary or grammar that you learned together. And after that, when they write these social media posts, you can hang them around the classroom and do the gallery walk when the students move from one text to another. And after that, they have to vote for the best social media post. A nice idea, isn't it? Paraphrasing is a powerful tool in the hands of a good teacher. The main idea of the next activity, called Rewrite the Story, is to create a simpler text and give it to your students while asking them to come up with better ideas on how to upgrade this text using the lexical items and the grammatical structures you learned with your students. What could be better than being the teacher? Nothing could beat this feeling, yeah? So you can create some sentences for your students with errors and mistakes which they have to correct, and their task is to come up with the correct options. And at the same time, if you work on grammatical structures, you can ask them to explain the rule to each other, and in such a way they will be able not only to talk about the correct options, but being able to explain why this or that option is correct. Having Jenga in your class and not using it? Why not, if you can do it and use it for revision activities? So you can take these wooden blocks, write the numbers on them, and prepare the questions, for example, on the sheet of paper for your students, where they have to look at the number, answer the question, and then they put this wooden block on the top of this tower. So it's nice, it's useful, and at the same time, it's interesting for your students. So use Jenga, don't forget about it. I'm sure you have hundreds of pictures around your classroom. Why not use them again? So you can prepare the list of lexical items you want your students to use while speaking to each other, and their task is to describe these pictures using these lexical items. You can also set the time limit for the students to know how much time they are supposed to have during the description of this or that picture. Have fun. Tell me the meaning of being lonely. It's not a music workshop and it's not a singing workshop, but you can use music as a revision activity as well. Use Suno AI in order to create the song with the lyrics based on the vocabulary that you learned with your students and ask them to fill in the gaps. Everything is so easy. Find someone who is the most popular ESL activity when it comes to group classes. The main idea of it is to generate some statements that would contain your target language, and students have to make questions using these statements and ask for more detail in order to find out more information about their partners. In such a way, they communicate with a lot of people. If you organize it as a mingling activity, if you work offline, when students move around the class and they ask questions and they get more answers. And also this activity is always interesting because you have got this element of movement. This idea I stole from my teacher because I loved it a lot, and it's called Make a Story. The main idea of this activity is to create some flashcards on word wall. On the one side you're going to have a definition, and on the other side you have the target lexical unit. Students have to read the definition, they have to think of the correct phrase or collocation, and after that they have to start making a story with that. For example, student A makes one sentence, and we move on to flashcard number 2. Student B continues the story of the previous student using the new lexical item. In general, it's really nice, and it can be really funny when students try to make up some funny stories, so it's gonna be a blast in your class. These are all the activities that I wanted to tell you about today, and I hope this video was really nice and interesting for you to watch. If it was, don't forget to put a thumb up and subscribe. See ya!